All right, Mr. Dennis Futch, how are you doing today, sir? Well, actually, hold on a second. I'm sorry. I got to say it nowadays. This is not an endorsement by any means on any level of all these crazy positions that I hold. This is just a very casual conversation. I was invited to come down to speak with Mr. Futch, and I'm very excited to do that. And I do want to start that off with, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing great. I'm glad to have you down here at Foxwood Farms and hope you have a good time.
Well, man, I'll tell you what, you're definitely setting up for a good time. One, I saw the food outside, so you're already barking up the right tree there, and the guns to boot, man. Now you're just putting icing on the cake. But I don't want to waste a good opportunity to talk with somebody who's running for Georgia GOP. I think this is a very unique opportunity, talking to a fellow who has that kind of leadership in mind and something that he wants to do. And I want to delve into the mind of that person, which is kind of what I do with this podcast. Okay. So the question I kind of want to start off with, this is usually how I start off interviews. I want you to give me a word, okay, that comes to your mind that kind of describes yourself. Like, who are you? Who is Dennis Futch?
In a word, determination.
I really like that word. So, okay, well, determination, right? So determination, when I say like these words, right? These words don't just, come off from nowhere. I was talking to Emmanuel. He's the the Georgia College Republican chairman, right? I told him the same thing. These words don't just come from nowhere. They manifest because of things that are, have happened in your life and everything of that nature, right? But they always start, in my opinion, with the family. And I think in terms of the conservative thought process, I think family is a huge, huge thing. So I do want to start there. I want to start particularly with your dad. Okay, where does determination come from in terms of observing your dad when you grew up?
Well, my dad only had one eye from birth. He was the first person to go to college in my family line, and he became a banker. Was very successful, and he never let having just one eye, limit him in what he did in his life.
No kidding. Well, but that's so cool. Like my dad, for example, he's a landscaper in Albany, right? He had to work 2 jobs, to get started. But now he has a son who is, I joined the Marine Corps, did all that fun stuff, but, getting ready to graduate with a college degree. I mean, it just goes from one step to the next. It's like the American dream is just kind of this amazing thing. And that's why I liked the word when you said it, determination, because I feel like that encapsulates the American dream. Your father sets you up for success for the future, for the son or the daughter to hop on board.
Well, if you go back far enough, my ancestor on Cinemas Futch fought in the Revolution. And, those that fought in the Revolution and led the Revolution, George Washington and every one of the rest of them, they had determination. If you listened to anybody in the public at that time, they would have told them they were crazy, the crown would crush them, and they would lose everything. But, they said, they told them, I forget who said this, but, it was said, we have to hang together or we surely hang separate. And that's where we are today. We have to be together and come together to win 24, or it's going to get worse from here.
That is a resounding message. I've heard a lot of conservatives bring that message up constantly at meetings. The word united, right, to unite, has come up in so many conversations. But we are focusing on the word determination today. Maybe we'll have a talk about unity another day, because that's a heck of a topic in itself. I want to explore the other side of the gene pool. You had your father. I want to explore a little bit about your mother. Where did you observe determination in her character?
Well, she never gave up. She was sick for about 10 years before she died, but she never gave up, kept fixing her hair, cooking as long as she could get to the stove, and supporting my dad. So she had great determination. They taught me, morals and character, and developed my character, to be a man that does what he says he's going to do.
Now, I bet you that was a hard task in itself, wasn't it, Dennis?
Kind of come natural.
That's good, man. That's good. I love starting off interviews this way because you truly start to understand an individual, the values they grew up with, and when you start talking to enough conservatives, it starts to make sense, and you start to understand the importance of the family unit. Right, because all of these values are taught when you have these healthy family, establishments, and it's such a beautiful way to get somebody's story encapsulated, right? So determination isn't just a natural thing. It's also a taught thing, and it's one of those things that you get taught through life experiences, right? So like as your life progresses, we could kind of move on from your family here. I want to go more in towards your business avenues because you certainly are. You're a businessman, and I'm sure you learned that from your dad as well. I want to go where determination kind of plays into your business.
Well, I opened up my business in 1991. I was 23 years old. I'm still in the very same building, in the very same office, with the very same desk, and it hadn't moved the whole time.
Consistency.
Very consistent. I knew from the get-go that, I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't get a big inheritance because my daddy did do one thing I don't do. He believed in spending what he made, and he had a good time. He didn't drink though, but they'd go out to eat or go on trips and cruises and that sort of thing. And I didn't. My money was not made from inheritance. My daddy took care of that, and my sisters. But I very much try to, be very consistent in what I do. My customers or clients, they get consistent experience every year. I do everything I can to legally reduce their tax burden so they pay no more than they legally are obliged to pay. And we don't, and for the most part, we do their return unless it's very complex, right then and there. So they have, they get it done right now. So I believe in getting things done and not putting them off, not being a procrastinator. And we, in my business, and in my life, I don't discriminate against anybody. All money's green in business. It doesn't matter who they are. I have clients that are from the poorest people in Moultrie to the richest, and in every color and race. So we serve everybody with a heart of service that we want to make everybody welcome and do the best we can for everybody that walks in our front doors.
Well, Dennis, that's something that I noticed a lot in the Conservative Party. And by the way, good on you for doing this while you're hosting an event. I mean, folks are going, in and out, making sure everything's going great. I'm sure they can hear it over, but that's okay because this is one of those real things that I'm talking about, right? I love capturing real moments. But here's the thing, Dennis. One of the things that I notice among the conservative folks that I really just absolutely enjoy and latch on to is the idea of service, the service-minded individual, right? It's a beautiful aspect. It's a beautiful aspect, especially when you couple it with determination. Because if you are determined to do good service for another person, right? I mean, that is a beautiful makeup. But the thing about that, you can't do this singularly, right? It's very difficult to be the executive and to make service effective, right? So it involves a good bit of team building. And I kind of want to explore that sub-level in regard to your business, in regard to team building in your business. How have you done that over the years?
Well, we all work together. We don't, I get everybody on the same page and we pull in the same direction. I've had a lot of service in a lot of things other than my business. I hold the record for the largest NRA Friends banquet in the country. We had, and it took a lot of effort to build a team to do that. That when we had 1,500 close friends in an aircraft hangar and made a lot of money for the NRA. I've volunteered for them for a long time. you know, we just 3 years ago now, we created the Moultrie First Responders Association. As our response to defund the police, we decided to fund the police. And then I organize and run the shoot every year and help raise money for police, fire, EMS, and provide support and services to the officers as well as the departments for things that's not budgeted. And, you know, of course, the GOP, I'm the chairman of the DeKalb County Republican Party. I brought it from ashes in 2 years. In 21, when I took over, they literally had nothing but a checking account that didn't even have fiscal checks. I had to rebuild it from the ground up, and I built a pretty good team. We've got about 250 or so members, which is not bad in Moultrie, Georgia for 2 years. And I've been able to motivate people to come and do our events, and we've had events with, you know, I held the very first county event with Herschel Walker when he was running in 2022. Actually, we held it in November of 21. It was the very first one he held with a county party. We had a fundraiser for him at a different location beforehand, and then we had a dinner and had about 250 people at that dinner. So all that takes coordination and work and to pull that off. And you know, if I'm state chairman, I'll have one of the very first things I do after I thank God, my family, and everyone that voted for me, is we're going to have a meeting of all the officers, and we're going to get on the same page, and we're going to become cohesive, and we're going to move forward as one party, not as different officers doing different things that work against the end goal, which is taking America back in 24.
Well, you know, that I was going to be getting to that part too. I was curious because I wanted to see if there was a segue between, okay, well, you know, how it is that you view teamwork in terms of business, and then how you can associate that with the Georgia Republican Party. And it sounds like you're very on page in terms of like, it's a direct correlation, right? An effective team is an effective team no matter where you go. You know, I was telling you earlier about my dad. And I'll tell you about what happens when you don't have a team. You know, my dad's in a situation in Albany, Georgia right now where he can't find anybody to work for him. He can't find anybody to work for him. My dad is a landscaper, and he's getting older. He's certainly not getting younger, right? And you're left with a situation where my dad, for the first time in 40 years, has not had somebody almost every day knocking on his door looking for work. That's a situation that we're in with Georgia. You know, right now, South Georgia, particularly, a lot of folks up north, you know, where I'm at now up in Kennesaw, you know, around colleges and everything, they don't see that so much because we've got the college kid populace, you know, but down here in South Georgia, I want to paint a little picture because this is a bit of a tangent, you know, Dennis, but, you know, you're down here. I want to paint a little bit of a picture of what you've observed down here in South Georgia, and possibly even how the Georgia GOP might be able to come down here and maybe change culture for the better.
Well, the number one complaint I get from business clients is they can't find any help. And that's thanks to Joe Biden and the so-called America Rescue Plan Act that's created all this inflation that we're all, you know, enjoying today. We've got to change that by changing who's at the head. Now, the chairman of the Georgia Republican Party, I think, needs to do some things that's not been traditionally done. We need to, one of the big things is fundraising. Let's just go down the list. Fundraising is a big job. Organizing the party, getting good people in good positions to help further the cause. A liaison with our legislature and our constitutional officers, including the governor. And I can do all of those. First off, fundraising. I've got a pretty strong record of fundraising. You know, I raised over $1 million in the 2022 election season across the state for various candidates, and pioneered direct giving direct to candidates from the county party. As a matter of fact, when I gave Brian Kemp a check, he like to fill out. He said, hold on a minute now. Ain't nobody ever done this before. And I said, well, we're going to have more of that. Because we're going to create a party that is responsive to the county parties and the district parties, because, you know, and we're going to use the state committee to do that, as well as probably hire some district directors to facilitate building county parties. But the state committee, other than having a few meetings, a year, doesn't do a whole lot. But they can be, if motivated and given a task, can be our conduit to the county parties and let us know what they need and help us coordinate that. And for the most part, that's volunteers, so it doesn't cost us anything. As far as fundraising is concerned, we've got to raise a lot of money next year. And I was talking about what I did in this last election, and I think we need to hire a professional fundraising firm that is on commission. It's money that we wouldn't have received anyway. So if they get 10% off the top, or 5%, or whatever deal we work out, we can utilize that to build money for the party, which we can then funnel to candidates and use to create these positions that I want to create to help me run the party across the entire state. The state of Georgia is big, and the state chairman can't be expected to be in Rome today and Bainbridge tonight. We have to have people in place, just like the military, where we have a top-down hierarchy, and we all work together toward a common mission.
Dennis, I agree with that. I really do, actually. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think you've got a really good mindset in terms of going forward with this. If it is that you were to be elected, right? I think you do have a really good mindset, right? I admire it. Here's the last little bit that I want to know, and we're gonna probably just go ahead and close here because that food is starting to smell really good and my stomach is starting to rumble. I want you to address two populaces, if you will, of the Conservative Party. I want you to talk to them, right? I want you to talk to the younger, even younger than me, conservative individual who's getting ready to come in and wants to get involved, right? But I also want you to talk to and say a few words to the older individuals, the ones that have been in the party for a while. What would be those messages that you would give them?
Well, for the younger folks that's interested in getting involved or are involved, I want to expand upon that. I want to create an office of youth engagement, and I want to go around the state, and we want to create college Republican and high school Republican groups in every single school that we can find that'll let us do it, and we can find somebody to run it. Because, we've got to grow the next generation of Republicans today, or we'll be, it's a dying party. We can't wait till they graduate, go through some hard times, and figure out they're not Democrats. It'll be too late by then. So we've got to get them out of college being a Republican and working hard at your age. The older Republicans, I thank them for all their service and what they've done. There's a lot of older ones that don't have a lot of money, but they can provide services. They can get out the vote. They can knock doors. They can vote themselves. I think we need to utilize new technology, and that's a big deal. AI is coming. It's here. This is going to be the first election AI is going to be a big challenge to us. And not only do we need to combat it, we need to utilize it. And one way we can do that is we can use AI to determine micro-target people that maybe don't have a lot of money and we need 500 text messages about giving, but they need information about the candidates, and maybe that we can recruit them to serve in another capacity that wouldn't take a lot of money, that would help us get out the vote and promote our candidates. And I hear from a lot of older people that, if I ever sign up or give any money, I get 500 text messages and emails, and it just inundates me. I don't know what to believe. Well, we can do better on that. But speaking to AI, we need to hire a digital social director that's a technology person that understands artificial intelligence and can utilize it to our needs, as well as we can look at what they're doing, and if they're crossing the line and breaking the law. I want to put together a network of attorneys across Georgia to work on pro bono basis that'll go in and help us file lawsuits to combat and enforce the law. The laws are great. SB 202 is great, but we have to enforce it, and we have to be an apparatus to support it. And I want to say one more thing. My vision for the party also, as chairman, is we have to work with the legislature. We have to bring the party back together with our legislators, our governor, our Speaker of the House, and all the other members. And the way we actually get things done, and what the party's not done so well in the past, is we need to, get with the legislative attorneys, and we need to help them form the bills that's presented in the legislature that furthers the platform of the Republican Party, and do it from the inside, not the out. And that's what I'll do.
Excellent. Well, Dennis, I gotta say, man, it was a pleasure getting to know you like this. This is how I like to get to know people. Because conversations, you learn from each other, right? And in terms of lineage, you talk about your lineage. You talk about how you came from, all the way back to the Revolutionary War. Lineage is an important thing, man. And passing on the ideological lineage is just as important. So thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, that food is starting to smell really good, really good. And I think I'm ready to go check it out.
Well, I'm glad you're here today. Hey, baby.
Oh, is that?
Come around here.
Like that's the dinner bell. Can she get in? Hold on a second. Let's see. Hey, hold on.
Go right through there.
Right through here, baby.
Oh, this is hilarious.
This is my grandbaby, Sophia.
Look at that camera right here. Look right here.
And I can assure you, I'll do anything in the world for my grandbabies to ensure that they have a good tomorrow. And the Democrats want to rob them of their life they've not even begun, and I'm not going to stand for it. That's where determination comes in. We're going to do everything we can to restore sanity in 2024.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Dennis. I say that is the dinner bell. Yeah, as we're cracking the sodas here, let's go meet everybody. I think folks are showing up. It was a pleasure, guys. That was Dennis Futch. He is running for Georgia GOP chair. He was a swell fellow to talk to. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. Normally, this is where I do the clink with the coffee cups, but this was my first time doing offsite, so I'll tell you what, it was interesting. Georgia, I love you guys, and I reckon I will see you all next time.